emotionally unavailable.
Okay, welcome back, Lainey. I'm so excited to have you. You know, our episodes were very well received. And I've been wanting to catch up with you for a while. Okay, so we talked off mic about some topics that have meant something to you recently. I was curious. So you're saying you have people in your life that are going through shit, which astrology is crazy right now, but you're doing well. So I'm curious, your fear is that you are being annoying or condescending by trying to offer support to the people that you care about that are going through things. So I was like thinking, okay, are you saying you feel annoying because you're trying to help? Like you're like, how are you? Everything okay? Kind of thing. Is that what you mean? Or
Mm,
or are you worried you're being like toxic positivity girl?
kind of both, to be honest, kind of both.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Why?
yeah, I mean, well, so there's kind of two different people that I'm really close with in my life going through different things and that are hard for really different reasons. Like one of them is like a personal like health journey and like, women we like don't get answers for years and years about stuff that should be relatively easy to diagnose.
Mhm.
So yeah, someone that I'm really close with right now is going through that, for almost 9 months now. Um, and it's really hard on them. And then the other person, it's like their job is really stressful, but they're just trying to like get through it because it's just kind of one of those things that there's not a lot that they can do about it right now.
Mhm.
Um, so I would say, and it's that they're really different people as far as like how they approach receiving like positivity or like advice or feedback. So it's kind of, I feel like I'm experimenting with like how to respond or how to reach out. It's not direct feedback that they're giving me that makes me feel like, oh, maybe I'm being annoying, but it's more so like, yeah, I know, or things like that. Like kind of the response that makes me feel like, okay, maybe that wasn't the best approach, So like one of them, I'm like, how are you? How are things going? Well, I'll kind of give kind of a line of questioning, like a almost kind of like a therapist would. But I've been to therapy and that's kind of just how I think, I'm like, well, how did it make you feel when he said that or she did that or whatever? And the person I'm talking to is like, really? Like,
Oh.
cut the shit. Like, kind of like that. I appreciate that you care, but like it just is what it is and we should just stop talking about it. Like it's more so like they have this wall up and then the other person, I do feel like I would handle the situation differently than them sometimes and so I'm giving advice that's sometimes unsolicited and I'm like it just doesn't always fit how they would approach things. So it
Mhm.
feels like maybe I'm being annoying. Maybe I need to back off and just give like validating statements. Like, I'm really sorry you're going through this or whatever. But it feels like I've said that a million times. So I
Well, and
also,
that's the thing. And so I just put out an episode about this on a solo a couple weeks ago. I'm going to just say it the way I said it on there, which is those are sneaky ways that we can be emotionally unavailable, is that need to show up in a way that helps or fixes things. You're feeling powerless, it sounds like, watching people that you love suffer. And that isn't a bad thing for you to empathize or have so much compassion for. But I think where the disconnect is happening is what we all do. Like, this isn't a you thing, this is a human problem where we hear something that someone says, we don't like the way it makes us feel. We don't necessarily know how to hold those feelings of ours that have come up in response. And so we now, to dismiss our own feelings, in essence, dismiss theirs because it makes us feel better. And this is what we are all doing. That is why that episode is why I got that message that I posted on social media yesterday or the day before. And that was a fucking therapist who texted me that.
yeah, no,
We're
it's so
all
true. I
doing
felt
it. Yeah, we're all doing it. So that's the thing is, so I think what I would say to this is, how do you feel when they are telling you? Because I have a feeling if things are going really well in your life, that is something you're really excited about. Because what I know is there was a period of time when you didn't feel good. Things weren't feeling great in life. So you're like, damn, dude, um, I don't know because like my shit's like I'm okay right now. And I feel like it can be a little bit dysregulating for us when we finally get through something and then now the people around us are going through something. It can feel scary, I think.
Yeah, I think it's kind of holding space for two things at the same time. Like on one hand, like it is a reminder and kind of a sore spot of like where I may have just come from or may have just
Yes.
something I may have just experienced or even a long time ago, right? But at the same time, holding space for the other person's like feelings and trying to like be there for them. So I think holding space for two things at the same time and trying to balance those gracefully can be really hard.
Yeah.
Um, it just obviously depending, but I mean, I wouldn't say everything is peachy keen. I mean, like there's always something to complain about. I mean, like I literally just had dental surgery and I have to have
Ooh.
like $20,000 plus more within the next year. So, like I just adopted a bunch of debt and I had to get a new car because my transmission just went out. So like I don't know. I think it's like I am happy. I'm happy with my situation in life. I'm happy. I'm thankful that, that I have a good credit score. I'm able to get the financing situation that I need for my vehicle, for my teeth situation. And like, I think I also just kind of view things a different way than, like at least one of these people, like they spiral really easily. And I'm not saying they're not grateful or anything like that, because I know they really are. And they do say that a lot. They do talk about all the good things a lot too, but I think that they spiral really easily. And it's hard in the midst of that spiral because of how I really do just kind of, I'm really positive, but I do kind of push things away sometimes. I compartmentalize and I just get through it the way that I get through it. And it's not always the right way, but I mean, I do try to feel my feelings, but a lot of times I do push them away. So like, it's hard in those moments to not sound like a toxic positivity person and, be there for them in the middle of their spiral and not be like, well, have you tried journaling? Like, or
Right.
something that's
Right.
annoying, which I don't say that, but like just an example of like how I would handle their situation is different than how they're handling it. And that is okay. It's just hard for me to turn that switch in my brain to kind of push my own reaction away, if that makes sense.
So two things that I'm wondering. One is there a chance that when these people are having pretty negative emotions that you're now exposed to, is there a fear that you are going to go back to the place that you just got out of emotionally? And two, is it possible that you feel like literally just being present and hearing and listening and validating isn't enough?
Yeah, it's funny because in my mind, I was finishing your sentence as you were saying it because I knew exactly what you're going to say. Yeah, that is 100% true. I really, really am a fixer at the end of the day. I want everyone to be happy and I want everything to be good and I want to just be able to move on.
Is that your cat?
Yeah, just throwing up.
Love it. Okay,
Just
good.
having a yak. Sorry.
So were you
Um,
the person in your family system that brought humor and joy to try to diffuse? You were the little fixer in your family?
yeah, I'm the youngest. So I I think I am a lot of the stereotypes that go along with that, but I watched everyone else mess up before me and I watched all of the things crumble and I when I was really young, I was really helpless. I would go hide in the closet and call my grandma and be like, "Can you come get me?" So drama.
Yeah.
But and she got involved, and my parents are like, "Why did you call your grandma?" I'm like, "'Cause she buys me roller skates without having to ask you." Of course I called my
Right.
grandma.
Yeah. You're like, "'Cause I was fucking
But
scared." Well, but you know what I hear
yeah,
when people call themselves fixers? What I hear is over functioner and people pleaser. Like, like we don't inherently want to fix everyone else's problems. Well, that's a learned behavior.
for sure. For sure.
So it makes sense to me that it wouldn't feel like enough to just sit there and be like, well, fuck, that sounds awful. Like if you were truly, not to use buzzwords, but if you were truly like in your body, in those experiences, fully present in your body, aware of your own shit when these people were having their own thing, you'd be forced to confront how bad it fucking hurts you to watch people suffer. And B, it would be a much more natural response to be like, and then what happened? And just allowing a conversation to unfold rather than the place that you are in, I think, oftentimes, which is, how can I make this better for you? Those are sweet qualities to have, but it's not helping you and it's not helping them. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's also, like I said earlier, like feeling my own feelings. That's something I've had to learn how to do. I really thought I was doing that my whole life because, like, I'm easy to
Right?
cry, like, I'm easy to laugh. Like, I really thought, like, when my therapist first said that, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I have a lot of feelings all the time. And
Uh-huh.
I learned that I'm not really feeling my own feelings and allowing myself the space and time, however long that may be, to fully feel my feelings. And so I think what I am doing in that moment is what I'm really good at, which is feeling other people's feelings or feeling feelings for them. And so, like, if there's some kind of injustice, like my husband comes home and tells me about something happening with another person at work or whatever, I'm like, well, let me call them.
Yeah,
Like,
you're like,
just,
what the fuck?
yeah, I'm like, what's their address? I just want to talk.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to talk.
I'm the
Yeah.
worst at this too. And actually, oftentimes, because Brian is self-employed, there's stuff that actually could change that drives me fucking crazy because he would never do any of the stuff I'm saying to do. It triggers so much in me when he comes home and tells me stuff that I'm like, why wouldn't you just fucking, but really what it's triggering is like, I can't control that. And it fucking
Yeah.
drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. But yeah, I mean, I totally think that makes sense. Like, yes, I've been putting out tons of solos around emotionally unavailable shit, but also how to be less emotionally unavailable because I'm still learning in my real time how to feel a fucking feeling. And for a while, I was really in the analysis of it. I was learning to experience it too, but I was really like, oh, what wound did this hit? Why did I feel that way? And where I really started to see this was with other people, my like response to our interactions. And I would immediately, like, let's say I get really irritated by someone, especially in grief. And grief has really highlighted this for me, where somebody says something I've learned, everything is agitating to my spirit. Everything. If any sort of attempt to try to help, like, or make it better, irritates the shit out of me because I'm like, well, you could just listen. That would be cool too. Cause that's what I'm feeling is like no one wants to hear me. So, but
Oof.
I've also just learned some of this is just my nervous system response to being vulnerable. This is very new for me to be so in real time, that real and that raw. It's been a journey over the last few years, but like I'm going through something that requires that of me. So I had to notice. And then, let's say I was feeling abandoned by someone. I'd be like, well, they're just doing that because blah, 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 blah. Now I'm pathologizing them. And then I
Mm.
had to learn, okay, no, let's just stay with the agitation, the irritation, the frustration, the loneliness, the isolation. What if I just stayed? Like the second the trigger happens, just be in that moment, feel every ounce of how it's making my chest hurt and my back tight and my jaw clench, like just stay. And so I'm really learning how to hold myself right then, like, fuck why. It doesn't matter because I'm not actually upset with them. I'm having a response that's human and normal and it's okay. I don't have to fix it. I can just stay with it. And guess what? If I'm not
Yeah.
creating a story around it, it passes naturally in 90 seconds or less every fucking time. So that's something I'm learning. And then as I'm learning that more about myself, because listen, even in therapy, I have found myself, like, well, here's a quick solution instead of just being with them or with a friend, or
Mhm.
God, this was something really bad at first because I was so desperate to model healthy grief for the kids. When Bryson would be having a really big grief response, I'm in therapy mode. I'm not in mom meet you where you are mode. Like I want to make
Yeah.
sure you're okay and whatever. So that was something I had to learn too, was shut the fuck up and just be with him for a moment and be like, I know, yeah. Instead of, well, what I do is, and I think there's a balance there because I do want to teach him how to do this, but also
Yeah.
he wasn't coming to me as a fucking grief therapist. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think learning to stay with your own self is how you stay with someone else when they're telling you. And that's when I started noticing I do not like the way I feel when somebody else is going, like, I'm feeling such a visceral response to this. How can I just stay with that and still be like, damn, that sucks? Like all of the normal natural processes that I would go through, which is to give unsolicited advice, all the things, same shit. That's my normal process too, because this is the human condition. I'm like having to learn in real time every minute of every day how to just be like, damn, but
Yeah.
I don't like the way it feels either. It doesn't feel good in my literal body. I have lots of physical sensations in response to other people's suffering.
No, I really, really feel you. Have you ever done or thought about doing somatic therapy? Do you think that'd be something that helps you? Like I've considered that. I've not done like a ton of research, but is
I
that
do a ton of somatic practices and rituals.
yeah. Do you do like the tapping and
I have
things
done
like that?
tapping and it does work. I'm noticing humming is a really good thing.
Mhm.
It's more like I have a whole little like ritual practice that's more like do this as a routine so that when the moment comes, but I have really learned how to get out of my head and just literally notice the sensations in my body and be with them, hold them, and then they pass and then the moment's over.
Yeah, I would love to hear your ritual because I feel like that would be something like I feel like I've kind of been dabbling more into that lately, and that does really help keep me present in my current emotion because I really do. I think I could tell you all about why I think it is, but I think ultimately I like to create an action immediately. And I think that's me getting like feeling like I have a solution to whatever the emotion is rather than feeling the emotion and just even stopping for a moment and wondering if I need a solution. Yeah, immediately my brain is like, yeah, okay, we need to do something about this. Here's what we're going to do. And I just, go straight into an actionable item, which feels good for me. It feels like I have control. It feels like I have an answer and I can have like confidence and security in the fact that, okay, I'm a secure person because when I'm feeling something negative, I do something about it. And that's not always necessary, if that makes sense?
Yeah,
So
oftentimes
I think,
it's not necessary. And even though you have an action connected to this, it's still intellectualization and analyzation, not feeling. So it's just still your natural process. But this is what happens. If you remember the movie Ghost?
ooh, don't hate me. I didn't ever really watch it.
Well,
I
you're much
know it
younger
though.
than me, so
Patrick
that's
Swayze
okay.
and the pottery thing,
Yes,
right?
yes. Okay. Well, have you ever seen a movie where, oh, okay, sorry. I don't know why that alarm was set. Have you ever seen a movie where somebody dies and their soul just jumps out of their body?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the part of Ghost that I was going to reference. But what
Okay.
happens is that's the visual that I want you to think of every time an emotion hits your body. Your soul's jumping out and you're going to your head, because that's trauma in childhood disconnects us from our body, period. We become a float. What I explain to clients is like our brain becomes this little floating balloon attached by a thin string to our body. The goal of somatic practices is to integrate all of it, to be in our body. Because if you were super present in those moments where you're hiding in a closet calling your grandma, how can you process that as a child? You can't. So your brain goes, oh, let's protect us. There's so many protective factors in place there. And that's what you're describing perfectly, is the way that you protect yourself. I also think you're one of those people who feels like, and this is so common, who feels like if I fully submerge myself in a feeling, I may not come back from that. Like, or I don't have time to really work on that. Or, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people say things like that because we think it will get worse instead of better. This again is the human condition. This is why I have the show, because this is what I am learning in real time all the time. I'm still uncovering all the sneaky ways that I avoid. I did not realize how much, even in trying to feel my feelings, that I was still intellectualizing, analyzing, and pathologizing myself and others. And I used to rush to be like, oh shit, what was that? Get that away. And
Yeah.
I'm literally just going, pause. What is that? And just holding it, feeling all of the electrical current that goes from like head to toe, all of the things. I'm literally just noticing. I'm not trying to fix it. I'm not trying to move it. It just is. But it will always move, with or without you trying to make it, it will go. But we don't know how to do this because it's our natural condition to think. But that's not really what our brain is designed to do, is to process emotions. So
Right.
I think that you're just really struggling with how to be in your actual physical body.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it
hard.
doesn't feel safe. I heard something you said made me think, oh, you don't feel safe in your body.
It feels it's just too much, you
Mhm.
know? Like and what's funny is that my whole life I have known some of the things that I do with my body. Like, I'm a huge fidgeter. Like, I'm always like, it doesn't matter what it is, but like, even under the table right now, I'm literally like picking at my cuticles. Like, that's
Mhm.
just what I do. And then I have always noticed that when I'm starting to get angry or stressed, my ears get so hot, like unbearably, like I want to rip them off my head hot. And like they get super red. And so I always told my husband, and so I tell my students too, because I'm like, if you guys see my ears red, because I do tuck my hair back a lot like this. I'm like, if you guys see my ears getting really, really red, like you'll notice. I'm like, you know that we all need to just be quiet for a little bit, okay? And Miss Painter too. I need to step back. And you might need to remind me, Miss Painter, do you need a moment? And I'll be like, yep, you're right, I do.
I do need a
So
moment,
like,
as a matter of fact.
we're all working together on this.
Well, and
We all
see,
have the
this is
space
the
to
thing
say we need a
too.
moment, even
When you are working in such a high stress job with so much stimulation, a natural tendency is going to be to try to avoid how you're responding to that stimulation, because it's a lot. It's like too much for any one person to hear all of that noise all of the time. And I don't know what grade you've been doing, but even the fifth graders touched a lot.
No, I always say like I mean, every grade level are kind of like um band kind of looks at all the other bands and is like, I could never fucking do your job. But I swear to God, like anyone that does not do kindergarten, it doesn't matter what grade you are. We all look at kindergarten and we're like, I don't know how the
There's
fuck
no
you're
way in
doing that
hell.
because
Yeah.
no, it
They
looks
touch so much and they
insane.
cry all the time.
I just remember, do you remember that teacher that we worked with that the kids were always touching her and doing her hair and like giving her a back massage, like, and then like the most innocent, you know, like just, I want to love you and this is how I'm loving you type of way. But like always, I look over and they're all like pulling her hair like this. And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
I
I don't
would
know
die
what she's taking, but like
to be that calm.
that would, yeah, like that would actually drive me insane. When I worked in Chicago, my babies, I called them like my Velcro class because they were always around me. If they weren't touching me, they were super close. I had one kid that was on the spectrum, and anytime he wanted to really tell me something, he had to put his lips like on my ear. Like, I'm
No,
not kidding. On my
no.
ear. And he would say he's whispering, but he had no idea how to whisper. So he'd just full volume, sometimes even louder than a regular voice. Miss Painter, I just had the best time at recess. And
My
I'm like,
God. If you are listening on an audio platform, please check out the fucking video of that.
I'm not kidding. Like, spit in my ear, Melissa. Like, I had to seriously lay down the law with him. And it still happened because that's just like, I'm sure how he communicates at home with his mom or something. I don't know. Like, he was seriously such a like lovey, darling kid, but that is the one thing I was like, dude, you
That's a
gotta
lot.
back up.
That's a
Yeah.
lot.
I was like,
That's
we had
so
to
many
learn how
different
to.
forms of stimulation.
I was like, I'm already so overstimulated, and that is sending me over the edge.
Yeah.
And it'd be
Well,
like in the worst moments too, where like everyone's going crazy. He's like, I have to tell you something right now. And I'm like,
oh
could
God.
it wait? He's like, no.
No.
And I know that
Actually, that's not
if
gonna
I
work.
don't address it now, it's like I'm not going to get anything done. So, but yeah, my Chicago class was my Velcro class. I do miss them so much. I love them, but it was a whole different learning experience for me, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and so when every minute of every day is spent in survival mode, because that's what teachers live in. If you don't have I don't even know. Like, I don't know if it's possible for people who work with children in that capacity to be out of survival mode. I would like to think that with all of the tools and whatever that you really could, but it's so fucking much. Obviously, I'm projecting a little bit, but it is so much. I mean, it really is. Um, I just think it takes constant checking in to notice that, oh, I'm dysregulated.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I think it was someone that I work with told me that their roommate had to ask them to stop humming because they were humming so much they didn't even realize it. But it's because they heard or read something about how humming, like it's impossible to, I don't know, it's impossible to do, like for your brain to be negative or something like that while you're humming. Is it,
It
do you?
uses a different part of your brain. So when you're in
Okay.
survival mode, I'm not going to get into all of the science of it because I'll say it all wrong, but you're in one completely different part of your brain than you are when you're in, like, when you're present and you're grounded. Survival mode really is running from the bear. Your nervous system has detected that the threat level present in your environment, because it's always detecting, it's always scanning. That's how it works. That's what it's designed to do. But like, add any sort of dysregulation, and now your nervous system goes, oh, threat level DEFCON 5. And that's when you're going to get into all those like really agitated, or just feeling like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do with this because I'm just at a level 10. I'm in the red, you know? But like,
Yeah.
if you can, when you hum, it's kind of like what I do for grounding, because I am such a good overthinker. The only grounding technique that has ever worked for me is to rapid fire name things I can see right in front of me. And I started that
Mm-hmm.
when I was driving because I was trying to like learn how to be more present and mindful. I was like dissociating way too much. I found that I was like getting to places with zero memory of how I got there, as was normally the case. I was fighting with someone in my head because I wasn't brave enough to say shit in real time. And then
God, you're
I
so
was like,
real. You're so real.
all the time. I was constantly like, yeah, and then you bitch, because I could never just say the thing. And then I was like, okay, well, why was I, what was I actually feeling? Oh, okay, that I felt rejected. Okay, great. And then I was like, okay, I don't actually feel better though. What the fuck? Like, I was like, I know why I was feeling what I feel like because I still hadn't learned how to feel yet, but I was like trying. And I was like, okay, it's because I'm still going back to that moment. Like, why am I still rehearsing and ruminating over this? So I started rapid fire naming stuff that I could see. I was like, white car, red car, license plate, green. And you get to about 6 things that you can see, and boom, you're in that part of your brain and you're present. And
Yeah.
it's almost like I feel myself come from like here, now I'm here and I'm where my feet are, you know? So it really does help me a ton.
My God, we're the same person.
Well, we
Literally.
are both Gemini.
I don't know if you grew up religious, but did you ever grow up like trying to pray before bedtime and like just getting lost in the prayer and forgetting everything you're saying? Oh my
Yeah.
God, that like I eventually just had to move into praying out loud because I'm like, I can't remember
Yeah,
who
you're
all I'm
like,
praying for or what I'm doing.
I can remember I'd end up like daydreaming about something, not daydreaming because like it's nighttime, but you know, dissociating and then being like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm such a terrible Christian. I can't even like pray without like getting, I'm
Like
thinking about ice cream and my birthday and, you know,
literally, like crap. Sorry, God. Where was I?
all the time.
Yeah, no. And I would feel bad like at church too, because they'd be praying and I'd close my eyes and it's like, I'm not thinking about anything they're saying. I'm thinking about what I'm about to eat after church or
Hmm.
like what Sarah just said to me before when we were doing the meet and greet. Like how dare
Or the
she?
fact that
What-
you're going to have to, this was a thing when I still went to church. They did the damn thing where they'd make you greet your neighbor. And I fucking hated that. And we would start with a prayer and then I would just be stressing about who I was sitting around and who I knew which ones I'd already pinpointed which ones are going to be the fucking annoying person that just had to follow the rules and really go
Yeah.
overboard with the meet and greet. And like if you want to just quickly, hi, good morning, that I could handle that, but with the asking me questions and I'm like, oh great, I'm already overstimulated and we just started. Excellent.
Yeah, well, and I love when the preachers give you a measurable goal. They're like, I want you to high five 3 people this morning. And perfectionist, I'm like, okay, it has to be 3 people I haven't high fived in the last 2 weeks. It has to be new people. And it's like I live in a town of like like 8,000 people. I've like known the same 100 people my whole life. Like, who's new in here?
Right. Yes, and I hated it, but that's the stuff that I'd be dissociating on. I'd be like, "Oh my."
No, for
I mean,
sure.
I would really freak out and panic about it. Have you read, and I haven't, don't let me play, but I've heard enough about this book. Have you read The Body Keeps the Score?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been a while, but yes.
I have not read it, but the reason they talk about that so strongly is because truly your body holds all the answers. Because when you can start feeling things in your body and see how your body responds to your environment, that's really where like long lasting change happens because you
Yeah.
are experiencing a lot of sensations all the time that you're not noticing. I think all the time about how my neck, back, and shoulders hurt so much every minute of every day. And I only noticed it sometimes. Or
Yeah.
like that zap that I was telling you about. I know that I was feeling that. Or when I feel betrayed by something, how I feel like I've been on a roller coaster because my entire stomach flips, you know, or
Yeah.
when I'm feeling neglected, how that feels. I've had to learn, oh, okay, I know exactly what that just hit because I know what that feels like because emotion is energy in motion. It's moving around. You have to let it move out. It
Yeah.
does get stuck. It does keep the score.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure you've heard of people like doing yoga for the first time and kind of opening their hips and then just like breaking out in tears and not really understanding why it just happened because it's not been intellectualized. It is truly just their body experiencing that. And I mean, I didn't experience that myself, but I do know when I'm opening up, like a chakra or whatever. And I do feel that like overwhelming feeling of emotion and just the stretch of that body part that allows it to kind of, I don't know, release the tension. I think it is really, really a powerful practice to do yoga or
Yeah.
any kind of stretching and just I think also just trying new things with your body, like acupuncture, acupressure, like those mats. You can literally buy them on Amazon and like just roll them out and lay on it for a little while and just allow yourself to like, I don't know, just feel a different feeling. And I think our bodies express the pain and all of those things that we're feeling through different avenues. And I really think it takes some experimentation to know what really works for you. I don't know. I think it is all really, really interesting. I I don't know.
Well,
I feel
I
like
had a
yoga is
lady
that thing
on
for me,
here
but
who did, like, she teaches and practices yoga for the chakras. And I didn't know that that is the true design of yoga, is to open up certain chakras. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I knew there was some stuff, but I didn't understand all of it.
yeah.
And just listening to her talk and about how certain emotions are really connected to certain parts of your body, like I was like, dang, I learned so much from her because I mean, I just didn't know. But even getting a massage. Like, I know someone who had a therapeutic massage and they were working on her shoulder. And when they got a knot out, just the rush of emotion that left her, and she was like, "Oh, you know what? That shoulder got hurt during this really traumatic experience." And that had been stuck there all that time. And just releasing it, it was like it finally got to move and she was able to verbalize what happened. Like, that is real stuff. Yeah, I think it is different for everyone. And like when I do yoga, which is almost never, I want to, but I'm just, I'm working on, sticking to systems. I'll say it that way. Um, but I'm just chaotic and scattered and, don't do things that are good for me
Trust
in the
me.
physical realm.
Trust me, I'm not speaking from a higher place. I'm right there with you. Like I want to be better at it for sure.
I'm like, I want to be that girl so bad. And, maybe in my new identity, I will be that way. But right now, not so much. But yeah, I think finding what works for you, it really is about like what resonates for you. That's what I've discovered is that some things work really well for me. But I think the grounding example was great. If you are the person who can be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, great. I have to rapid fire name shit. That's who I am. That's the way my brain works. But it felt so good to finally feel like, oh, I can be here instead of up here all the time because the noise in my brain was the problem. But all I keep thinking about for you is you recognized at a really young age that when people weren't happy, you weren't going to be safe. It posed a threat for your safety because it meant there was going to be chaos and not time to nurture and all kinds of things that happened when you noticed people's mood shift and you learned very quickly how to try to shift people's mood. So I think if you worked on being more safe in your own body, it would feel naturally easier to be safe in your body while listening to someone else's experience. And also, I have completely thrown any ideas about the word coddling out and coddle the shit out of myself all the time. I don't even have to do it as much anymore. But in the idea of reparenting, there for a minute, like especially the earliest days of grief, I'd be like, honey, what happened? Like talking to myself. I'd be in the shower and I'd be like, what? Because I would notice, oh, I'm feeling more agitated. So I know that I haven't been addressing my grief as much as I need to because I'm feeling more agitated. So I would just get in the shower and I'd say, honey, what's going on? And just break open. And it was like, oh, I just haven't cried enough. Like, like my body would do it
Yeah.
for me. I mean, like I would just be still and be like, what's going on? And it would just rise up and just cry. And that's not natural for me. I was taught a long time ago that's too much. I will constantly try to stop it when it starts. And I'm like, Melissa, why just cry? Who cares? But it's hard for me. So I have to just like be like, what's going on, honey? And I'm like, okay, if somebody Like, if my mom knew how to fucking nurture me in childhood and was saying the exact right thing, what would I need that to be? And it really is like, honey, come here. And I just do that to myself all day, every day.
No, literally hearing you say it like that, even right now, I'm like, I'm like leaning in, like naturally, like you're gonna hug me. I'm like, let me tell you. It is so interesting. Like I'm like even sitting here right now feeling like it's making me feel things to hear you say it like that, because it really is just that nurturing voice and like what you're saying that makes me want to open up. And I mean, it's true. We do really just need that. If we're not going to get it from someone else, we need it from ourselves. And it seems, I think, a little, I don't know how you feel. I mean, I think at this point in our lives, we're done feeling crazy for talking to ourselves. But like at first, I think talking to yourself feels
It
a
can
little
feel weird.
crazy. Yeah. But you really get over it. And then you're like, it's so normalized. I don't know about you, but I I was just talking to myself all the time in front of anybody. Like, I just don't care anymore. And
No, I
I mean,
don't
people
care.
ask me why I became a teacher, and my answer is literally always because I wanted to be the person that I needed. And that is like my mission that I keep in mind every single day, every time I'm talking to a kid, every time they're struggling with a math problem, every time they're really pissing me off, or every time I heard something is going on in their personal life. I think of little Elaynie and all the shit that I would go through, and how not a single teacher, and like I said, grew up in a small town. I had one teacher ever, I think, ask me how I was doing after my house burnt down. Like, I lost everything I ever knew as a kid, which, like, over it now, not a big deal. But, like, at the time, I mean, I was not processing that. And I
Right.
think, like, my 20s, I spent, like, my whole 20s, like, processing all of those things. But I think back and I'm like, I remember my fourth grade teacher, Miss Howe, she did pull me outside of class one day and asked me, hey, like, are you doing okay? How's your family? Like, do you need anything? And that was the only teacher I can remember from kindergarten to 12th grade, went to the same school, that ever asked me anything like that. And I went through a lot of shit that, I mean, again, small town, everybody knows everything. I know that people knew things. I also know that people assumed a lot of things that weren't true about like my parents, and like people were saying my parents started the fire and stuff like that. I'm like, nope, we were all asleep and it was 3 a.m. and I was actually in my parents' bedroom because I had strep throat and they were nurturing me. And so like, nope, no one started the fire at 3 a.m. 2 days before Thanksgiving, you know? So it's just like, I love the mission that I have now and how I'm able to take control of wanting to be the person that I needed. I do need to remember to still be the person that I need, though, right now.
That's
So,
exactly what I was thinking. You still need it. You still need all
yeah.
of those things. And something that sounds so stupid, the coddling, I had to remind myself, you're safe. You had things in early childhood that threatened your physical safety. A fire, pretty big. The other stuff, pretty big. So your nervous system is constantly feeling unsafe. Like, oh, it's not, this is why you intellectualize, because you've learned that's a skill that protects you really well. But when I go to myself and I just go, and I'm telling you, for 3 months, I had to do it like all day, every day. And then now I'm not hardly having to I'm not having to tell myself I'm safe. I'm not having to be like, what's wrong? Like any of I would if I needed to. I have no shame in the fact that I needed it. So, but I finally realized, no, all of this stuff that we believe about how to make people independent or, get them through their problems is to make them feel stupid for having problems, essentially is what we're doing with a lot of the toxic positivity is like, well, but why does that bother? It doesn't matter. It does. And what matters is something deep in their programming feels a response to what's happening. A lot of times it really is that neglect wound and the betrayal wound. When your body is betraying you, that's a really big one. And then neglect, like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders and no one to help me carry it. Those are my biggest wounds, walking around with those wide open all the time. So I'm just constantly like, oh, I'm noticing a response, but I had to get to the place where I noticed them about myself before I could notice that in response to other people. It's still really hard for me. I just sit there and I'm like, okay, they don't
Yeah.
need anything from me other than my presence. And then I've also learned ask. Like, how can I support you right now? Do you just, you want me to be pissed with you? You want me to, like, what, just listening, no response? Is it okay if I ask you questions about the, like asking, how do you feel best supported? But in the vein of the very first question on the comments that you left when booking, when you're dealing with emotionally unavailable people, which we all are, unless we are very intentional, they're like, again, that's too much because now you're asking me to be vulnerable. Like you're acknowledging that I just expressed some shit and I don't really want you to acknowledge it because that makes me feel unsafe. So there's this whole paradigm with that too. And actually that was who I was. I had to learn like, oh, that's not pity, that's empathy and compassion. And I don't know what that looks like. So when they're giving me that, I don't like the way it feels because I actually feel seen. And even though that's the thing I crave the most, seeing me is scary. So there was like this whole little thing about it. But
Yeah.
man, I feel like we could talk about this all day.
I know, but when you're talking about like just coming up with a question to ask people basically like what do you need? I think that's been my main go-to, especially lately with like the people around me that I love going through things. I'm like, okay, I that is really how I avoid also just ruminating after the fact, like, did I say the right thing? It's just asking a question like, what do you need from me? So that way I also am feeling like confident in what I follow up with or how I respond. And then I don't have to ruminate later about like, did I say or do the right thing? Or was that toxic positivity? Or was that too much? Or was that not enough? Or should I have stayed on the phone longer? Whatever. I mean, I think a thing as simple as asking them what they need. One, obviously, they actually get what they need out of the conversation. And two, I'm kind of pacifying that side of myself that's trying to come up with satisfying my own needs, which feels like wrong that I'm needing something out of a conversation with someone else. But I think it is what it is. Like, I naturally, I think, need to I don't know, satisfy or pacify that side of myself that needs something out of the conversation too, so that I can be present in the way that I need to be. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, I'm hearing some good girl shit, like I got
What
to
do you
do it
mean?
right. And,
Oh, well,
like perfectionism.
that's true. I don't know if that is it a bad thing though? Because I mean, it's the people that I love. I want them to
If it's causing you to
get what they
ruminate, it's
need.
not a good thing ever.
Well, that's just me though. That's just how
Right.
I'm going to be
But the
regardless.
rumination is a symptom of the intellectualization. Like if you could feel safe that you're enough, even when you're not perfect, like
That's true.
you're going to respond imperfectly sometimes. You're going to irritate them and agitate them or hurt their feelings. And that doesn't
Yeah,
mean that you're bad or wrong. It just means that it wasn't what they needed at the time. But if you could feel safe in the fact that humans make mistakes with the people that they love, then the rumination wouldn't be there.
that's true. That's true. I will say the rumination has gotten better, but I think the re- I have to be honest. I think the reason is because I just the last couple months have started anti-anxiety medication. So
Excellent. Well,
uh,
good.
removing the stigma from that because truthfully, I think it really has helped me to slow down and stop ruminating and just be I don't know, less anxious, to be honest. I don't think I really recognized that as anxiety. I really felt like that was normal, and that is so
Yes.
not normal.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and it was your normal. It was what you were so used to. So you just assumed it was okay, but it can drive you to the brink of insanity to ruminate like that.
Oh my gosh, yes. And especially, I mean, moving so often and experiencing so many new social dynamics all the time. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
was like constantly stuck in a spiral of rumination of, am I like gonna make a friend? Am I gonna make an enemy? Like, am I gonna stay at this job for more than a year? Like, is this gonna last? Am I making a good impression on that new parent of that really special kid? Whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think removing the pressure and anxiety is really helpful for me to actually put these tools into place. So, but I also wanted to take a second to say to you, like, I have to say, I have to give you your flowers for a second, because the way that you've handled such a traumatic and horrible event in your life, I feel like I've been so, I mean, not that you're looking for anyone to be proud of you, but I've been so proud of you. I feel like you really should be so proud of yourself, because like the way that you've spoken about it on your podcast, the way that you've spoken about it on your social media, and just the way that like you can tell you're being authentic. You're not just like putting out, content or something like that. Like you're being so authentic and real. And I think you're handling it the best way that you can. And sometimes that's not pretty. And it's so refreshing. And also just, I think as your friend, it makes me feel, I don't know, just proud of you. Like I feel like you are progressing in the best way that you know how. And like, I'm sure you probably don't always feel like you're doing it right. I don't even know what that means anyway, but I just feel like I just want to say I'm so proud of you. I feel like you should be so proud of yourself, because you're handling everything with such grace and such kindness to yourself. Um, I don't know. I think I really look up to you. I feel like that's such a good example of how to move through life and all of the things that it brings. And um, I don't think I've ever seen someone truly handle something so well. I don't know. I'm just wanted to say I'm really inspired by you, and I'm really proud of you, and I hope you're proud of yourself. And I think that I couldn't even begin to know how you must be feeling about everything, but I think that everything you've put out is so helpful, and it has to be so helpful for people that are going through similar things, or for any kind of loss, really. Um, so I just hope that you're feeling, I don't know, good about how you're moving through everything. I think you should be.
Thank you. I mean, I do. I do feel good about it. Especially having so much other grief experience to compare this experience to. I definitely have been way more present with myself. I think my thing sometimes, I think initially, especially because I was feeling so isolated, which is just how you feel in grief, not because anybody did anything, but I think I felt like, okay, you don't get the support you need if you're not performing your grief in this certain way. And so I worried about that. Like, I was like, I'm not going to perform grief just so that people will understand that regardless of how well I'm doing, that doesn't mean I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
fine. I am good. I really am. But that's because I have so much fucking tools. Like, I use the tools every fucking day. But I'm not
Yeah.
fine. I'm not like, you know what I'm saying? I never
No.
imagined that I would be as okay as I am, but it was a choice to be as okay. It was a choice to use the tools every minute of every day to make sure that I'm okay. It's not because it doesn't affect me just as much as anybody else. Hello, it was my kid. But like, there are tools to help, and I cry all the time. Like, I know some people are uncomfortable with some of my social media posts that I make to him, but I like it. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel connected. And
Uh,
I don't give a shit about other people's comfort. You know
no,
what
you
I
sh-
mean?
you shouldn't. I think it's admirable. I know that's not your goal, but I think it's truly admirable, like how you've moved through all of this. And I really, it is my worst fear. I really grew up so fearless. I'm still very fearless about pretty much everything, but it's my worst fear to lose people. And I don't know how you get rid of that fear. I don't think that you can. I don't know. And I know it's just life. And I mean, like the rational part of my brain is like, this is a stupid fear to have, but ultimately it just is. It's my biggest fear to lose people. And freaks me out. I no matter how old I get, I think that will always be the case. It just freaks me out. And no amount of religion ever really helped with that, by the way. But
God.
I know. But I just wanted to take a moment to recognize that, because we've talked a lot about a lot of different things, and I didn't want the moment to pass before I said just how proud of you I am, because like it is really helpful to, I don't know, just put myself in your shoes for a moment and think about, well, how would I move through that? Like it's something that is important for me to think about, because it is something that I want to, I don't know, understand this fear of mine. And so, I mean, as someone that goes to therapy and tries to understand myself more and more every day, and just how to use tools and how to actually apply all these strategies and tools that I've learned, how that looks in your truly darkest moments. And it would be so easy to just blow all of that off and return to default or, factory
Mhm.
settings. And so I think it's just so nice to, I mean, I know it's your job, but you're still a human. And I think it's so nice to see you showcasing all that you have to offer in a moment where you really don't need or have to be generous with that, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I veered us really off topic. Sorry.
Well, that's okay.
I
All
just
right. Well,
had to
I know
say it.
you have to go and I have a client coming up, but I have loved this conversation. I'd love to have you back when you have free time. I know your school's about to start, so
I know. Don't remind me.
thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I enjoyed talking with you.
Me too.
And
Okay, I'm going to press stop if you'll hang out for 1 sec.
okay.
Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.